I moved to Wyoming from Ohio this summer. Along the way, I had all my possessions hijacked by a thieving team of movers. I broke a foot and I said goodbye to everyone I loved. I teach composition in a classroom in business school. One day, on a wall near the first floor stairwell, I saw the Catholic Code. These sensible rules adopted by the state of Wyoming as a code to live by helped me frame some of my experiences. I've cleaned toilets and written books. I've weighed 571 pounds. I've loved and I've struggled. And now it seems my school affiliation makes me a cowboy. I live by the code. Number 1, live each day with courage. The best thing about weighing 571 pounds is eating whatever you want. And don't worry about gaining 5 pounds. You know that it won't make a difference. You know that starving yourself and losing 5 pounds won't make a difference either. The futility of the situation creates its own inertia. I should have a story here that Americans like. I should tell you that I starved myself and ran 10 miles a day and that took all the weight off. But at 571 pounds and 32 years of age, I read a statistic that scared me to death. People at my weight had a life expectancy of 33 years. If I didn't lose a lot of weight and very quickly I would die. Weight loss surgery terrified me. I worried I'd die. I worried I'd have a stroke. But I'm worried about those things even without an operation. Both were imminently possible at 571 pounds. I tried to have courage about the surgery. When I skirted from the gurney to the operating table, my bare backside chilled by the sterile sheets. I thought of it as getting on a roller coaster. I counted backwards from 100 and fell into deep unconsciousness. Number 2, take pride in your work. I clean strangers' toilets for money. I have 2 college degrees and I sold a book. The money hasn't come rolling in, so I clean houses as a way to pay bills. My college friends have prospered, and they worry about investments. The last guy who dumped me, I can't do the boyfriend-girlfriend thing, he told me, as we snuggled together in bed. Drove 3 hours to Columbus so he could rescue his money from Charles Schwab. As I detail the room with a toilet bowl and a toothbrush, I think about Barack Obama. I went to see him speak just before the 2008 election. Your 401k might be a 101k. The question isn't, are you better off than you were 4 years ago, but are you better off than you were 4 weeks ago? I have no 401k. I have no mortgage, and I'm lucky to have the money I have the time. I've struggled with disability all my life. I have minus $200 in the bank as Obama promised to send my non-existent children to college. I suppose I could find other ways of making ends meet, but cleaning has a physical aspect I relish. Before I lost the weight, I could never have done this work. I also like the feeling of having done something. When you transform a filthy household into a clean house that smells faintly of orange furniture polish, you know you've accomplished something. Number 3, always finish what you start. Everyone knows this trick. You hold the camera above your face, stretch your neck, and shoot. I take my own picture this way. You see my heart-shaped face, my dark brown eyes. You don't see my body apart from the cleavage I occasionally throw in. Pictures make me thinner than I am, and I'm never likely to be. The angle slices away more pounds than my surgeons, and that's saying a lot. I am the after side of weight loss surgery, having lost nearly 300 pounds. No one gets this, at least not without an explanation. Because I still weigh over 200 pounds, and the weight loss fable is supposed to end when you're thin, not when you're merely average fat or an American. I think like there ought to be an endpoint for a time in my life when I'm allowed, or allow myself to think of something other than my body and how wrong it is. My body serves me well. I could have another surgery, but if I did, it would only be for cosmetic purposes. No, I decide. I don't need another surgery to stave off imminent death. If I had one for cosmetic reasons, that would be one thing. Or maybe I would do it so I could land some future boyfriend who'd probably look at my current shape with disgust. How much would I enjoy dating someone capable of hating any version of myself? Not much, I decide. I can always find a better pair of pants and love myself than them. I'd rather cheat the angle than cheat myself, or punish my body anymore. That's been already. Number 4, nowhere to draw the line. As I sit next to Christopher on the sofa, I'm 35 years old and a virgin. I used to weigh 571 pounds. When you weigh that much, you don't get a lot of offers. I didn't want to fuck creepy fetish guys. I also felt ashamed of my body, trapped by all the layers of fat and hanging, bulging skin. Letting someone else touch me would have ruined the illusion of normalcy I clung to, despite the evidence of mirrors, scales, and size 10 X-ray. After having 40 pounds of skin chopped off, I was ready for love, or some similar entanglement. Do you have condoms, I ask? No, he says. I can pull out. I laugh at this on the inside. He can pull out. I've got some in my purse, I tell him. I stole them from my mother. I can make out his expression despite the near darkness. He looks confused. I don't explain. I retrieve the condoms and close the door. I dive under the sheets. He lies on top of me, kissing me with his whiskey mouth. I turn my head and he's kissing my neck. You don't like kissing much, he marvels. I like kissing you. He rolls over for a second to put the condom on. He makes a face. Next time, tell your mother to get lubricated, he says. He tries to enter me. It meets resistance in the form of my ancient and entrenched training. I feel like he's ripping me in two, and my whole body goes rigid. I try not to cry, but can't help gasping. It hurts so much more than I thought it would. So how long has it been? He asks. 35 years. 2 months, and what's today's date? In the morning, I put on my cleavage sweater and prepared to do the walk of shame. Christopher got up an hour before me, and I can hear him outside loading his truck. I go to hug him goodbye. You'll call me, he says, smiling. In the light of day, fully dressed and clean shaven, he looks handsome and grown up. I nod, but I'm pretty sure I don't. Number 5. Ride for the brand. Ride for the brand. The Heidelberg Project is this awesome art installation, my boyfriend said, after swallowing a bite of bacon and onion pierogi. About 20 years ago, a guy living near Heidelberg Avenue had it with the burned out vacant houses. The city wouldn't condemn anything, so he started turning houses into art. Paul called it a win-win. Either the art would stay and become something great for Detroit, or the city would demolish the vacant houses. The city went with the path of least resistance. So Heidelberg's been there since 1986. Paul decided I need to see it immediately. After lunch, we hit 75 North and got off somewhere on Fisher Freeway near Gratiot. When we turned onto Heidelberg, I suddenly noticed what a gorgeous day it is, now that there are so many people outside enjoying it. We parked near Wadi Dadi House, a white 2-story covered in bright spots of pink, blue, red, yellow, every color. Across the street from Wadi Dadi in an open field, I see a large rowboat overflowing with stuffed animals. Exposed to the elements for years, these whimsical beasts have lost much of their color. They've bleached in the sun to shades ranging from pewter to bone, but the lack of color makes them a stronger statement. You notice the form and shape of each animal without the distraction of candle hues and satin bones. Paul takes my hand as we stroll in front of Wadi Dadi. The sidewalks feature brightly colored portraits, line drawings of faces in blue and green and red. So many colors. I hate to step on these abstract smiles, but I do. I take a picture of one square of sidewalk with my cell phone. When I look at it on my laptop later, I realize I photographed our shadows, Paul's and mine. He clasps my shadow hand in his. Perfect, I think. Just perfect. Before I moved to Wyoming for the creative writing program and knew about the cowboy code, I wanted to make Heidelberg something mine. I wanted to write about it, chronicle it, inhabit it. I wanted to write a book about Heidelberg more than anything. I hadn't ridden a horse in 25 years. I've never branded anything. Really nailing this project would be my brand, I thought later, looking at the code on the wall. Writing's out, but I'll heat up my brand and see what I can do.
Growing up, we each try to find ourselves in this mess of fears, expectations, dreams. Remembering back to the days when I was young, I was ashamed. I looked different. I didn't look different based on my hair, my skin color, my eyes. I had the scars on my face. It was hard coming to terms. Looking as I did, getting the stares. From 2nd to 6th grade, I had to go through operations. But the people at Shriners Hospital were magical. Only there could I meet other burn survivors and not feel so alone. Only there could I see that there was something more than physical appearance. Believe that maybe I wasn't a monstrosity, maybe I wasn't weird. At that time, I would do anything to hide. Long hair, looking down, hiding in the camera. Growing up, I was called lots of names. From freak, weirdo, Scarface. But no one would stand up, no one would say anything. The teachers, playground supervisors, they just looked away. It was at that time that I truly knew what it felt to be alone. But then one day, I stood up for myself. The teachers told me, you shouldn't have used such bad language. I got put on the wall for timeout, acting too rashly. That moment made me feel like shit. Knowing that those bullies could get away with anything, I stand up for myself, I get punished. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words, they can't hurt me. I won't lie. Those words hurt more than any stone thrown. Flashed to junior high school, and I got a bit of a surprise. I was more attracted to guys than girls. Growing up in church, I knew that was a sin. So I hid this fact from my family and from my friends, hiding the truth of my desire in my heart and in my shame. I had no one to turn to. I didn't know where to go. Then there was junior year of high school, and I finally came out. I was in a new town. Gillette wasn't too homophobic. Also, I didn't have to tell my dad that I was gay at that time. I had moved away. That was when I found the strength to say my truth and find people who accepted me for who I was. Then there was college, and I thought I can finally meet gay guys who I can befriend. I thought, heck, I could find peace just being me. I could fit in. Sadly, that doesn't always happen. At that time, I felt ashamed once again, not for being gay, but for being me. Sometimes you don't fit in. If you don't act a certain way, dress a certain way, believe certain things. I had a guy tell me, as advice, guys won't date you with the way you dress and your hairstyle. These were, of course, words of advice. A close friend of mine, who I trusted, joked, who would ever love a face like yours? This was, of course, a joke to him. This was, of course, my feeling like a piece of shit to me. But I have grown. I have matured. I realized that those were not true words. I have met people who accept me, who love me for something beyond the surface. Now I see myself as something more. Something more than some Scarface, some gay dude. I am me, with all my eccentricities, passion, hope, creativity. Come and look a little deeper. See what rests within.
The sensation of having the skin of your head split open by somebody's fist is an interesting sensation, especially when they split it open 5 times in a flurry of blows. It's not too painful, like having your nose broken. It's not really noticeable until you feel your blood running down your face and neck. Injuries like this were normal for me. It sounds horrific, it sounds like something criminal, but it isn't. It was medical. When I lived in Cheyenne, the underground heavy metal scene was violent, focused, and the center of my life. An underground metal subculture seems out of place in a place like Cheyenne, which is best known for frontier days, but the metal scene actually existed on the center for many people's lives. I was one of the resident queers, a person who probably took the title faggot because everyone knew how violent I could be, and nobody would mess with me. When I was in the mosh pit, I hit girls in the face, I broke people's teeth and noses, I received bodily injuries of my own. I was one hardcore faggot in the strange metal scene of Cheyenne. The world of heavy metal is heterosexual, hyper-masculine subculture. However, the world of metal exists to find new extremes, and queer is an extreme compared to other parts of the culture. Metal involves making the vices and taboos of mainstream culture even more extreme. Wrath would be the deadly sin of the metal, not lust, with acts ranging from the church burnings in Norway to the on-stage murder of legendary guitarist Dimebag Darrell. Queer is a lesser focus in the metal world. These sentiments were felt in Cheyenne's underground music scene, but in a different way. Prejudice against queers did exist on a prominent level, but queer was not seen as extreme, and in my case, displays of extreme ritual violence annihilated any hatred that would manifest toward me. It was known that I had sex with men, but it was also known that I was usually the figure in the mosh pit covered in blood, so people didn't attack me about my queerness. Few things in the metal world demonstrate the embrace of violence like the mosh pit. The ritual of the mosh pit is founded in chaos. It is one of the many timeless rituals that create fraternal violence. It isn't a set time when a pit will start, but rather the mosh is explosive and spontaneous. The fans active in the mosh divide in 2 forces across the space of the venue. The lead vocalist will issue the command for the 2 bodies to charge at full force. I participated in 3 Walls of Death in Cheyenne, and from my experience, they are the ultimate realization of the violence in metal culture. I've seen people get kicked in the face during this, I've seen people get kicked in the balls, or even the head, and people always get trampled. Anybody caught in the center is about to be swept away into the walls of violence. The walls of death. So created somewhat of a golden age of metal in the scene. At this point, attendance was at an all-time high. Old bands thrived, new bands formed on a weekly basis. It was bloody and beautiful, but did not last. One of my first male lovers committed suicide on September 10, 2011. Most people did not know about the true relationship with him and me, so the hatred manifested toward him after his death struck me hard. I heard whispers all around. Did you hear? That faggot blew his own brains out. Did you hear? There's another fag in hell. I was living in Wyoming at the time, but I still went to a lot of shows. I played bass in a few bands that performed in Cheyenne. Hearing statements like this hurt more than a broken nose. In the mosh, I was more extreme than a lot of them. That night outside the pit, I remember I told him to never seduce me, but he did that past summer. He was an incredible lover. He gave me affection nobody has matched yet. Did this make me feel weak? I thought about it endlessly. I remember I found my answer when I returned to the manliness of metal. A friend showed me the comedian Steve Hughes shortly after my lover committed suicide. In his stand-up, this Aussie metalhead discusses how straight is the new gay. His manly metal friends were telling him how they just like kuftas and that gays are tough. It's not gay, he said. They fuck men. That's hardly gay. I laughed so hard that I laughed a long time. I was hardly gay, hardly attracted, because I fucked men. The aggression and embracing masculinity I learned from the violence of the kids showed itself in my desire to have cock on cock. I was just able to throw aside the prejudice and fully accept my masculinity, not just as a person, but as a heavy metal fan. I fuck men like a real man. And I fucked up kids like a real man. The people of Cheyenne knew this, and whether or not they accepted it, they knew not to stand in my way.